roadside then.
Roadside's
Yeah.
25 feet.
Roadside, yeah, roadside's 25 feet. So on a waterfront lot, the front setback is on the water side. And the rest of it is on the,
Is that a
Pond, it's Michigan wetland.
it's waterfront, it's water.
It's a wetland.
Okay, then we can let them go closer. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, but.
I'm trying to get it so it
wetland,
stays
you only
back.
go 25 foot.
Man-made
So
or
it's
natural?
45 feet to get them back away from the pond.
This is sides from the side of the property.
Excuse me?
Setback from the side of the
15
property.
foot from the property line on the
Because
side.
Mike Stazak was there measuring his property line, it's 10 foot from my bedroom window.
Whatever, they have to go by fire
That's not what I
setbacks, okay?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
So it ends up being 25 feet.
Yeah.
It's 15 feet on the side lot lines,
Right.
25 on the rear, depending which way that is, and 45 on the front. They're the setbacks, so they have to meet those setbacks. I don't care who's measuring what.
These are all
They
from
have to
that
follow,
area.
it has to meet our zone.
These are all from the soffit,
Right.
Fascia.
fascia on the
Yeah.
soffit.
I have a quick question. Are you calculating the density per square foot then on the lot? Is that what you're talking about? Like in that whole?
You mean about the footprint on it, 35%?
Yeah, that's the.
That would just be a building, if your building's 20 by 20,
Okay, so-
that's 400 square feet. That's not,
Yeah, I get that. That's what you guys are talking about.
that's
though?
about, so if you have,
Okay.
if you have, say, 4 buildings, and it's what, 400 square feet, that's 1,600 square feet, then your property, it can only take up 35% of your property.
So
The
that's
other
in-
75% has to be property.
That's in the C1.
That's in the
The
C1.
It's
That's-
actually-
C1 change, the change you want to make to the C1,
Yeah,
or that's
No,
in
that's,
the
we're not making no change, we're not making
Okay,
any change to C1.
There's no
That's-
changes to the
That's what's
setbacks. and if we
stated
can
right
keep-
here.
We
Okay.
can still keep these till the end of the thing, I appreciate it. but-
Yeah, I'm sorry. This,
No,
I'm
the
just
only
trying to
one-
follow you guys.
The only one that doesn't have 35% is R1, that's only 30%.
Okay.
Everything else is 35% maximum coverage.
Yeah, I was just, you guys are going back and forth all the time every time.
No, it's just-
You're calculating when you
Okay.
I have another question. So the 25 foot on the roadway side,
If it's a waterfront lot. That, because only.
I'm using that as the
yeah,
example.
probably both of
It's
them.
45 on the water
Yeah.
side, it's 25 on this side,
On the street side, yeah.
street side. But the question about the 25 on the street side is that from the right of way, or is that from the center of the road? What are we saying? That
should be right away.
And the backside is at the center
so
of the
that they're
canal.
not out in the clear view when you're trying to back out of your driveway and you can't see to get out.
We have that problem continually.
So it already
Charlie's-
says it.
Well, I know by your house, because I was there that day when the neighbor was backing out and she's having a, because that truck was coming down the road.
That's a tree problem there.
The square footage of the lot calculated by the center of the canal, the edge of the canal.
Here's the street. This looks like
Edge.
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 From the lot line. It says it's from the lot line, not the center of the street.
Actually, it's to the lot line. Where's the lot line?
Very edge.
Where's the lot
And I
line?
believe so.
Sometimes it's in the middle of the street, sometimes it's not.
It's just
That's
the
where-
state lot line. The rear lot line.
And there's one only has
So that would be from the survey stakes that are by the road then. It says rear lot line.
The way I interpret it.
So the rear lot line where they put the survey stakes, they can park cars as far as to right near those survey stakes. Because apparently there's not an.
You just can't, you can't have a building there, and you can't have a fence that restricts the view going in and out of the lot.
It'd be the same as your own property, you can park right up to the lot line.
You can put concrete right up to the lot line for parking spaces if you want.
It's the lot line where the water meets, or the center of the canal, or what is
I'm sorry, what?
it? On the water side, is it the center of the canals, or where the water meets the canal, or
Where's the lot line?
the lot line? or water?
Wherever your lot line is, I mean, if it's wetlands, you're not gonna be parking and stuff in there,
Right.
but.
Yeah, the one print I see where they're figuring the square footage of their lot, they're including
It's
like
whatever,
that.
it's whatever it is your lot, whatever if you take the meets and bounds description or your lot thing, whatever the square footage of the lot is the percentage of what lot you can cover. Whether part of it's wet or dry, it doesn't make a difference, that's your lot. You're paying for a lot, size or whatever, so whatever the square footage of that is, you get to cover 35% of it.
Even if it's under a road, that's included lot property?
Excuse me?
Because their line goes onto the road?
Still a lot. I mean,
Think
you're
that-
still,
included.
you're still paying for that size of a lot. your lot is whatever size, 67 by 100 or whatever deep it is, I'm not sure.
Because the thing he posted last night showed the road as part of their lot next to my
Yeah,
house.
we
so.
didn't understand.
I don't trust what GIS says, I mean, that's,
Because the,
those are suggestions, I mean, if you look at it.
Certified surveys.
But if it's like 30% of their lot is part of their lot, and that 30% calculated on that road, that's really not part of their buildable lot.
Whatever the lot description says,
Yeah.
whatever's within that lot description is their lot, period. That's the square footage you got, that's the square footage you have to use for your percentage of coverage. Is that? Okay.
Everything's fine. I mean, they're all plotted out, surveyed it, and as an example, if you have 1,200 square feet, a third of that's 400, you can put a house on it that's 400 square feet. Does that help?
Yeah, I get your point. You guys are going back and forth.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
trying to figure out.
approximately has to be, the footprint is gonna be 1/3 of whatever the lot size.
Yeah, I was trying to calculate the,
Yeah,
you're talking
no.
about setbacks, densities, square footage, or,
Not that complicated there, you're going in too deep, it's just,
well, eventually it gets to that if you change the
Yeah.
zoning.
then we're not changing zoning.
Well, yeah, whatever term it is.
Okay. Charlie, got any other questions for him? Or any other suggestions as far as how we've got this, it's been worded?
I'm probably not.
No, well, now it's time, I mean,
No, that's
now
okay.
it's time to speak at it,
I think I've shared my piece. I just
Okay.
think that there's concerns. So are we looking at adapting the transition to dwelling? Is that what?
Yeah, whatever the changes he's made. in the
Green
thing
is what we're doing.
The green is the highlight, yeah, that's,
Red. Red is what we're
Change.
getting rid of. Blue is what
Green
used
is
to be.
change.
you need a motion on that?
Yeah,
I'm just writing it down first so that it turns out right.
Well, we just have to figure out what the final wording's gonna be.
Right.
Red is what's changed. And yellow is terminated because it wouldn't be called cabin courts anymore, correct?
I mean, if you wanna go with the bottom one, we'll go with the bottom one. If you wanna start making changes in the top one, we gotta go through the verbiage again and construct the ordinance.
You say the bottom one, what are you referring to?
3060. And then the appropriate changes to be made on the second page, as far as page 14 and page
And the other thing I had on, to add on the
35,
bottom
43, and 43.
is add that all vehicles and trailers to be kept in parking areas,
That's fine.
period.
That's-
So that at least that defines, if anything after that, then it gives us teeth zoning wise to go after them ordinance wise.
Okay.
So who do I complain
So
to?
Chief, a question for you
Zoning
is,
department.
That's not-
if we're gonna make them keep all cars and trailers in their parking areas,
Okay, well, wait a minute. Are we talking the C1 zoning, because I know you guys are trying to cover issues that weren't included with the C1 zoning and stuff. As far as the cabins go, that's
within
that's
the
different.
zoning, you have to have access to be able to get in for any type of an emergency thing. We had a
Well,
conversation.
yeah, I mean, and that's all part of the code that we have. We've got to have access.
Because if anything
And
went
we'll
wrong,
We'll make access if we have to, so.
I mean, luckily the way these are set, you got, on the road, on the corner, and on the corner up there, so. And you got a little extra water supply if you need it to run your pumper.
I mean, but you guys are trying to cover this type of situation, no matter where it is in this township, and I commend you for that, because it's an issue that may come up other places or whatever, but, you know, that's what I'm seeing that you guys are voting on, you know.
Correct.
Yeah, for this tourist dwelling, they have to have at least 2 parking spots per allotted unit, and all vehicles / trailers need to be kept within the parking areas. So at least that way it gives, you know, it gives everybody some teeth. If they're not doing what they're supposed to, you call, complain to the zoning or whatever, this is what the zoning says, you're gonna get ticketed, if, you know, fined or whatever, just like everybody else does.
Who would get the ticket? The property owner or the renters who are there?
Property owner is responsible for his renters.
So you have renters who come in with a car and a boat, and they park in the street or whatever, so, and I call and complain.
Yep.
The owner
Owner gets
of
a
the
ticket.
property gets the
Yeah,
ticket.
it's his
Who's
responsibility
gonna
for,
control the situation?
yeah. And that's why we're doing this, make him, you know, here's the setbacks, and here's the stuff you gotta abide by. If you don't, then you're gonna get fined, you know, I mean, we have to give it some teeth to do that, instead of just going, here's your spot and have at it. No, we wanna make sure that we're trying to cover that, you know, it's a madhouse, as you know, when Linwood has a good fishing day, and everything's all built all the way out to the corner, you know. We wanna be able to have some type of restriction on there that they're made to be held to, because they're gonna do that, you know, so it helps out you guys as well.
That's it.
We've had days where ice fishing is so good, they're lined up past the party store. These guys would have an ambulance there so they can get in and out. It's crazy. So we're writing an ordinance, why wouldn't we just, the easy solution is just not allow this stuff. I don't have to worry about ordinances, and then I don't have to worry about calling the cops. And why would we make
Everybody else's problem.
Why would we make ordinances that's gonna open the door for this kind of stuff?
Why would we allow this?
All right, so I have one more question to ask, and then we can move on.
And I'm gonna keep the rest of the public comment till the end if we could,
Okay.
because it just drags us out, and we lose our train of thought, and then we're gonna miss something.
So here we put in the, you know, we have 20-foot buffer zone between each unit. We have the buffer zone, and I'm gonna use the property there. I'm gonna use that lot for the example, okay? So we have a home that's 10 foot from their line.
No, 15 feet.
No, the house that's existing is 10 feet from the line.
So we got 25 feet to the other
Okay.
place.
So we're putting that, are we going to require a buffer like we would on any commercial
Yeah,
development?
it showed right on, anytime that you have a change in zoning between residential and commercial,
So
you
we
gotta
would
have,
require the fencing. I'm just asking to make sure.
well, they showed on their plan that they had evergreens or some type of deciduous, you know, some type of.
That was
tree.
Rogers.
Excuse me?
That was Rogers' plan.
Okay.
We haven't seen any new plan.
Yeah. Okay, just so that there's some form of a buffer zone between,
Yeah.
to keep a peacefulness going.
That's already in here.
I get that, but I see where some places, a buffer zone is wild grass, another place it's evergreens, another
It's like
place
we
it's a
discussed
fence.
with the whole solar thing, you know, our buffer and other things of what needed to go in there. That's in there.
Because-
Anytime you have a change between, you
So
know,
I get-
residential and commercial, where it, you know, adjoins a different zoning class, it has, especially residential, you gotta have a buffer between it, and that's all covered in here. When they come in to do their plans, they have to meet the zoning, all the zoning restrictions and whatever they're coming in to do, they have to meet those also on their plans. Or
I
it
understand.
doesn't get approved.
I understand we have a book that says something, but I also understand that there's quite a few places where things have been done, and it doesn't necessarily comply with the book.
Okay.
So
well,
I
we're-
want to make sure that that's a piece of this equation, that we
But
absolutely.
it's already covered.
Okay.
I'm not gonna load this up with stuff that's
No.
already here and is required already. I mean, that's, you know.
I'm just putting here that it's already covered, that there'll be a buffer, because it's.
Good. Don, you got any other questions or anything, or I don't, you cover everything?
Okay, Rick, how do you want
Yes,
to
sir.
word that last sentence and all?
Basically, that all vehicles, and trailers,
Watercraft.
whatever, yeah,
Well, I think we'll put in
our
that.
vehicles, RV/trailers to be kept in parking areas.
Okay.
Whatever, they're allowed 2 spaces per unit. So whatever they bring's gotta fit in those 2 spaces, or they gotta put them someplace else.
just watercraft, then you bring boats in, or
That includes the ATV.
everything
ATV,
else.
golf cart, all of it.
Whatever they bring into the area has to fit in the 2 spots, or it's gotta go someplace else.
What if they
We'll
park
just say
somewhere
that.
else
In the
and bring in
wintertime
8
when they unload
snowmobiles?
the ATVs and the snowmobiles,
Yeah.
they have to fit within there
Park
too.
somewhere else and then bring in 10
And the
snowmobiles?
watercraft.
That's a vehicle,
Yeah.
Correct. They have to bring
all vehicles.
It needs to be.
all vehicles, RVs, trailers, boats, 4-wheelers, you know, whatever, motorcycles, snowmobiles, RVs, okay, RVs
Inside
slash.
their parking area, not
Not
parking
parking.
area, their parking area. That doesn't come out.
Must be kept in their parking
Okay,
areas is what it
okay,
says.
thank you. Okay,
There are
say
2
that.
parking spots per unit. Whatever they bring to the unit has to be in those 2 spots,
Okay.
period.
Okay, all right,
You know.
okay, that's where I was looking for, thank you.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, that, we added that to it. We already got the other one, 20 feet to the sockets.
You're never gonna read it. Trailers, watercraft.
Pat, you anything? Okay. So, somebody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
No problem. Pat,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Roof,
Yes.
Cynic,
Yes.
Campbell.
What'd you do, Charlie?
I'm making my mind up right this second, because I don't necessarily, I do not agree with
That's
this.
fine.
Well, then say no.
Then say no. You're allowed to do that.
I will say no.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Charlie.
Okay. Application fees, so just, we'd already said earlier, we have been getting more and more commercial and large-scale site plans, and we're gonna raise that to $500, mainly because of all the extra things that need to be done. $50 just does not cover our time, so, I guess we gotta have a vote on that too.
I was going to make a motion that we raise our fee for commercial
Site plan.
site plans to $500.
Correct. I'll make it, you made the motion?
Yes.
Sure, I'll second it.
Discussion second.
Okay.
Are these current?
Yes, that's correct, I
Current fees?
checked, yeah.
So where does residential fit in?
$50, yeah.
$50.
$50 is the residential one.
And it's also, that's what's
That's-
charged for commercial?
That was the problem, yeah, it just, site plan is $50. Which now we're getting more and more like, you know, like Taco Bell and all the other stuff, it's a lot more, that takes a lot more time from us, and that doesn't cover our costs or administrative fees. So, and then anything else that needs to be sent out and done is on their dime, you know,
But
like engineering.
that was exactly where I was going
Yeah,
with that.
right, yeah,
But I
no.
think we ought to specify that as third-party fees.
Well, there you go, yeah. And we'll-
Plus third-party fees?
Well, so for instance,
Like they
even
had,
Taco Bell was a unique lot, right?
Right.
And it was a very
they had to go to
small lot.
Spicer for all that.
But somebody ate, I assume the drain commission at that point ate that,
Drain,
but
yeah.
other townships I've worked in, you know, they say, okay, Spicer quotes it, it's gonna cost us, to review your stormwater management plan, because Bay County felt it was over their head for that project. They wanted, you know, 1,500, 2,500. To me, these third-party fees should be passed along to the applicant.
So,
So $500, and any third-party fees
Miscellaneous
incurred.
third-party fees.
Yeah.
just a minute.
No, no.
So, I made the motion, you seconded it, roll call. Roof,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Sinek,
Yes.
Campbell, yes.
Good, thank you. I meant to do that several months ago and got waylaid. Correspondence, you wanna just do a quick read of the,
Okay. Yeah.
of that? This is one that we had gotten back in March and it never got to our hands until this week, and we
This is
apologize.
yours.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you would like to stand up and just give a synopsis, that would be great. 'Cause that way it's coming from you.
Sure, that's fine.
You want to stand by the speaker, that way
Sure.
she can convert it to the record?
We wrote this note on March 19th to, at the time, it was the Board of Appeals, which had a meeting scheduled for the 20th on the new property. Was delivered here to the hall with like 15 or 18 copies, and we asked to have them distributed. Evidently, they just gave it to the Board of Appeals, and so that's why you're just seeing it now, evidently. But what we wrote, and we talked within our board, we had a board meeting, and we talked to 3 other residents prior to writing. We wrote, "Dear Board of Appeals, these comments are regarding the 3 property codes." I'm not going to read them. The Board of Directors at Harbor Viewpoint Condominiums met this week, as well as discussed with several other residents. We wanted these comments considered as part of your decision-making process. First, we look forward to Linwood Elite Cabin's presence as a successful neighbor and partner in our community. We, the Board of Directors, have spoken with several members of our ownership group and have had mostly positive dialogue and hope the spirit of partnership and neighbor values continues. Our concerns will be easily addressed through open dialogue and continued vigilance by the principals of Linwood Elite Cabins and Harbor Viewpoint. First, we're concerned about the impacts multiple dwellings per property could have on the sewage systems in the area. Our systems are aged, and we've incurred significant expense in the past 24 months, and are worried what a significant increase in users could do to these systems. I have expressed in brief conversations with Mr. Stazak and Mr. Thompson, and we will gladly collaborate with them, but we would need their partnership in this area if they were approved to use common sewage systems. Obviously, if they use their own, kind of all bets are off as far as we go. But second, noise and nuisance must be a focus for residents of the new property. The Linwood Beach Marina and Campground have done an exemplary job of enforcing quiet hours, and we would hope that Linwood Elite would have similar vigilance and regulations. Pets, snowmobiles, vehicle and guest noise are concerns, but again, easily addressed with focus from the ownership of these lots. Third, trespassing and security. While our community has been very safe historically, we worry about liability that could be incurred by an increase in transient residents on our property. We would simply ask that Linwood Elite has strongly worded and, more importantly, strongly enforced stance on trespassing, shoreline use, recreational uses, dumpster use of our property, and we would do our best to ensure our residents do not trespass on these new resorts as well. We would ask their collaboration on physical access to the properties and how we can minimize intrusions both ways. Fourth, parking and the number of vehicles and recreational vehicles this may bring to our area must be well thought out. Given adequate space, not a problem, but these properties are compact, and we want to be sure our residents are not tempted or forced to park on property that is not bound by the property codes above. Lastly, our residents and the service providers that work for us use a quaint small bridge to access our land. Often, local residents or kids will use that bridge for fishing in the attached canal, and despite no trespassing signs, we still get multiple users a day. Truthfully, not a big issue at this time. However, with possible increased foot traffic, likely to be heavy on sportsmen and sportswomen, we have concerns with blind spots around the bridge and want to do everything we can to minimize any risks that might be associated with the bridge and surrounding grounds. Thanks for taking our talking points into consideration. We're looking forward to having Linwood Elite as our neighbors, and we'll do our best to mutually respect each other's missions and privacy. We do feel, however, that each of the focus areas should have a plan in place with the developers of the land to ensure both safety, privacy, and a neighborly community partnership. We believe this venture can be a success and agree that if done properly, it could be an asset to the community, and all our best interests will be served by working together. And it's just signed by our board of directors. So, kind of outlines everything we've already talked about. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Board meeting report, Doug, can you go over that? Once again, we don't have a zoning administrator report. I guess there's not this report this month.
Actually,
What's that? You got
we
it?
didn't have one last month
I
either,
know.
but here's one from last month at least. If you want to share it, you're welcome to. So that people know that things are getting accomplished.
Spreading out on vacation.
So we had